for joining us today on Grasp Confidence Podcast. I am your host, Tara LaFon Gooch, and this is an incredible podcast. Why? Because we interview the most fascinating people in the world and we talk about their stories and what they're doing in business and in life that's going to be ultimately inspiring for you, for the listeners. So, I would love to hear from you guys what your favorite takeaways are from this show, and as my guest and I are talking, if you have any desire to reach out to them, they're on LinkedIn, they're on social media, they would love to connect with you and hear how their words and story inspired you. So, without further ado, I will introduce my next guest, my friend and colleague, Gary Trautmann. Gary, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. I guess you've already introduced my name, so I don't have to mess that up. I'll go ahead.
That's right. You're not going to mess up your name. You're
So
funny.
I'm Gary Trautmann, as she said. She didn't lie. I am, let's see, what I'm doing a Ph.D. on organizational development and leadership, and my dissertation subject is about uh, the same with AI and most importantly, bias. I'm also somebody with about 36 years of IT experience, many different industries, including banking, credit card, oh my gosh, travel industry. I actually used to be a watchmaker many years ago.
We all start somewhere.
I got ticked off and quit. It's a really bad joke, but I'm the only one that can use
I love that. I love a good bad joke. Does that make sense?
it.
So interesting. A lot of people are talking, AI is the hot topic right now. I know it is in the world of professional speaking. I know it is beyond that, right? We see so many people posting about AI and ChatGPT and all of these amazing new technologies that are coming out.
Mhm.
But you hinted on something. So your PhD work is about artificial intelligence, but more specifically geared toward bias.
Yes.
Right?
What an enlightening experience. I was trying to find a subject on what to do my dissertation on, and I've been involved with AI literally from all the way back in 1986. So I did my I was able to get into some master's level courses at the school is where I started on AI and robotics, and then it just piqued my interest. And AI has gone through different seasons, seasons meaning different levels. We had, way back when the science fiction level, it's not really part of the season, but different levels of performance. And it's always been, the seasons have always coincided with different levels of technical how do you say that, performance increase from a technical perspective. So it's been quite a ride, and I'm sitting here starting my dissertation process, trying to, I need people to join my study, which is on how to mitigate AI bias. And
Mm.
I want to see what people have done in the corporate industry, the corporate level, and implementing AI, what they've done to mitigate the risks of bias. Do you even know what bias is?
Yeah.
I
There's
could
a
talk. I could talk very fast, very quickly, but I want to let you talk. It's your show.
well, there was a gentleman I met on LinkedIn not too long ago, and his headline said, "If you have a brain, you have bias." Right? So I think that's pretty profound to note that this is not an isolated incident. This does not mean that it's a certain percent. This could be anybody, right? We all have bias because we all have brains. And if we think about it, who is creating artificial intelligence? Who is creating AI? Well, it's human beings who have bias in their brains creating artificial intelligence. So it naturally makes sense and it's intuitive to understand at that point that we could see how AI would adapt these biases as well and carry these biases that these human beings have created and put in place. And what ramifications could that cause? Right?
What
And I don't know
what
if
do you
we know all that yet.
what do you see on an everyday basis related to bias? Prejudice, is one of the worst forms of bias. And you're right, human beings, and the more, I've been studying solid since for the past 3 years on looking at different forms of bias. I can't talk now. That's great. Different forms of bias. And the more time goes on, I find more and more issues with bias. I recently read an article through my research that there's 180 forms of bias as from a psychological perspective, and it grows every day. I think there's way more than that. I think that was kind of a misquote, to be honest, but it's a good start. Um,
Yeah.
what I'm finding is, there's too many companies with AI implementations out there that have no idea the level of risk that they're actually open to and don't understand after having implemented their AI system.
Hmm. I think the recent statistic that I read, only about 2% or so of companies have actually implemented AI to the level they really truly need it. So most companies have not implemented this yet, to the level they need it, right? For, scalability. But the ones that have, are they, like you said, testing this? Are they capturing this? Are they documenting these things? Do they even know to look for these things?
From what I've seen, no. And that's why I've also started a business. Here goes my plug, uh, called Veracity AI LLC. Veracity is about truth,
Mm,
and that's what the company is about: is dedicating the the existence to promoting fairness and ethical integrity in AI across all sectors of of any business. So, yep, it's
wow.
it's
It
going to
sounds
be a lot of
exciting.
work.
A lot
Very
of work.
exciting.
It sounds like a lot of work, but it sounds really exciting and innovative. I've never heard of this before that, we all understand the implementation of AI, at least we should at this point.
Mhm.
But again, what measures and checks do we have in place for these biases? And I like how you refer to your company as measuring that truth. And I could see this really helping, because we understand that AI can help us grow and scale our businesses a lot quicker, but we also want to make sure and have that responsibility as leaders that we're growing and we're scaling ethically, morally, safely, and always with the lens of that human being in mind. Don't you think, Gary?
Well said. Absolutely. And it's your fault that I started this company.
It's my fault. I have
Absolutely.
a propensity to ignite fires of success with it. People are just they talk to me and they're like, "I can do anything."
Well, and yeah, and you and I both had a conversation previously in relation to your book, which I had to get the signed copy. I wasn't happy with just, the digital copy. And so I got my signed copy, which re-illuminated my desire to make a change.
Mm,
And that's what I did. I can't really point to an exact paragraph. It's the meaning of the whole book that's important. And it's something that I believe in, that we are all unlimited. Absolutely everyone. I'm no different than anyone. I just, like your book points out, take action, appreciate what you know. And I do appreciate it. I mean, going all the way from a bachelor's to a master's and to a PhD, I couldn't have done that, without some level of push, self, actual, how do you say that? Self actualization, or
Yep.
knowing who I am, what I'm capable of. And everyone's capable of doing anything they believe they can. Just believe.
Yes. It's so key. It's really it we all do have that unlimited potential within us, and when you really take responsibility and ownership and look at yourself, kind of try to step back a little bit and look at yourself as if you were that 10,000-foot view, and you really say to yourself, "You know what? I'm pushing 30%, but I know I could do more. What would that look like? And then what would that feel like if I actually did that?" And
Hmm.
it starts to kind of force a creative process within your brain to say, that's the steps I need to take in order to do that.
Hmm.
And we don't have to necessarily know all of the steps because you're in a journey right now. You're completing your PhD work. You're starting this amazing company that's going to save the world. I know it is.
Oh, yeah.
And you're doing these big, big things, but that takes confidence, Gary.
Uh, and I might fall on my face on part of it, but I'm not going to stop. If I was going to stop, I wouldn't have gone through, with my PhD, which I got straight A's. Too bad my father's not around to appreciate that. And, it's more as you get older, your drive increases. Some people think, well, I can retire and just stop. Why?
Why? I don't ever see me retiring. I've thought about that before. I don't think I ever will. I will always be starting some business or doing something.
Yeah.
God,
Said the
I just
woman who's younger.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and as you get older too, you're right, some people settle down, other people speed it up. But the ones who speed it up, the ones who refuse to quit, the ones who refuse to take a back seat and be a passenger in their own lives.
Mhm. Most.
Yes, which is most, right?
Yeah.
And I encourage everybody to take a minute of self-reflection and ask, am I a passenger in my own life?
Are you letting everything in life tell you where you need to go?
Yes.
And why are we here? We're here because we have free will. Not free willy, free will.
That's
Why
right.
do we have it? Because we can make our own choices.
Yeah.
Absolutely true.
It's powerful. It's that responsibility ownership mentality. A lot of people ask about that section of the book. Why responsibility? What does that really mean? But
Right.
to me, it's that like that ownership of no, and I'm not going to be a victim. I'm going to be the victor. I'm going to take some accountability and some ownership of the decisions and actions I make in life. And you know what? I'm going to own those choices when I do make them.
Yep.
Pretty
That's
powerful.
why, that's why I started the company. That's why I need to get done with my PhD, because I'm taking ownership. I'm pushing, and it's been rough.
Yep.
There's been some very difficult patches. There's been times when I wanted to just say, I don't want to continue,
Yeah.
but now I can't stop, which is even more rewarding and more satisfactory than thinking, even having a thought of stopping. I don't ever think about that.
No. When you really start to align with you with a purpose, and I believe that it's not just a purpose for yourself, it's a purpose for the betterment of a collective.
Hmm.
And once you start doing that, Gary, it's you can't stop because you realize that you have a duty to other people. And with your company, we need these checks and balances in place with tech. We need these things in place, and you're taking an ownership and responsibility mindset and you're saying, "You know what? This tech is amazing. It's going to make the world a better place. It also needs to have a check and balance system."
Yeah. I think what happened is most corporations are too used to, implementing a software package, and everybody says, yes, this is good. We can use this. AI is a much different tool. It's a totally different toolbox. There's different large language models that are different tools. And that's the thing. I've always approached IT as it being, different languages as a tool. And if you think there's a one size fit all, you're wrong. If there's a one approach fits all, you're wrong. There's no such thing. And that realization is responsibility that, a CEO, a principal within an organization needs to accept that responsibility and learn from it and accept it, that it can impact society positively. It can impact society negatively. Medical, medical as a subject, if you give wrong diagnoses, you're going to kill people unnecessarily because there was one ethnicity that wasn't represented in the data. Whoops.
Wow.
So it's significant.
That's very significant, right? And we think about that in terms of healthcare as well, AI in healthcare, and it's very important to have these conversations.
Absolutely.
So we're talking a lot about responsibility of self, ownership mentality.
Mhm.
But as you're talking, I'm also kind of thinking about your vision that you have, because I mentioned this in my TED Talk. It was a quote by Marian Edelman Wright, and she said, "You can't be what you can't see." Right? And
Mhm.
it's so simple to think about, but I don't think we think about it and talk about it enough. But in order for you to have this big vision of the future, this company that you're developing, you have to be able to see it tangibly. You have to hold on to a vision so that no matter what happens in your life, what distractions may come your way, you're still pushing forward on that mission, right?
Yep.
I'd like to hear your thoughts about that.
Well, it's like I said before, there's been many instances where not many, a number of times, where I'm tired, I don't feel like doing anything. But I need to get one more thing done today. I need to feel like I've accomplished at least one more thing. One day I was just started a company. That was one more thing.
Hmm.
Then, I didn't think I would do that. Well, the one thing that's important is taking the first step and then a second step. I don't know everything right now. There's no way I can because there's no one else that knows either. And I think that's the key is to be driven enough to push yourself past the unknowns. What did Elon Musk do? Do you think Elon Musk woke up one morning and said, I'm going to start a car company, electric car company? His father would have said, you're crazy. Shut up, kid. Go back to bed. Stop dreaming. You're not awake yet.
Yep.
It just proves how each one of us, if each one of us lived up to half our potential, would the world be a different place? I think so. I think it would be completely different. I don't stop learning. I have never stopped learning. And AI is fantastic because it gives me the ability to learn anything in depth quickly and faster and faster and faster. Well, I have a 12-year-old daughter who I wish I could get involved, more involved. She's getting there. but our educational system holds kids back.
Yeah.
The educational system is behind, and they need a drastic change because our kids are graduating school without the skills they need. More so, kids need to be able to think out of the box. And adults need to be able to think out of the box. I threw mine away. I didn't even put it in recycling. I burned
That's why
it.
we get along, because we're both pretty out of the box people. I couldn't
Okay.
be conventional if I tried.
It's okay to be a little bizarre. Heck with convention. It's bizarre is in, I think.
Well, it certainly keeps you remembered. So, see, there you go. So now you're setting up your personal brand perfectly for, starting your company. Just be bizarre. It works every time. Trust me. I love that.
If I don't think out of the box, that literally bias affects every single type of organization.
Yeah.
I mean, healthcare, finance, retail, human resources, education, legal, marketing, property evaluation, manufacturing, transportation, and logistics, route optimization. Yes, I have a list. um, and every time I get into doing more research about different types of biases, it just, after you've been doing this a long time, you're like, wow, why didn't I think about that? Because I thought I knew everything, but then I realized, no, I don't. I think I got off a little track. off
Yeah,
track.
no, it's a lot, right? And again, that's why I'm so excited about your company, and I know it's going to help a lot of people because as we're implementing these technologies, um, it hasn't it's not going to change the world, everybody. It has already changed the world.
Mhm.
Um, and people are just catching up to it, right? So as we implement these technologies, we really need to be conscious of our social responsibility. Again, this is a pretty powerful thing to take away. I want every single person, and most of the people that do listen to this show are executive leaders and CEOs.
Mhm.
And it's important to understand that we need that level of social responsibility within the constructs of our company and beyond. So this is pretty pertinent. But I love what you said, Gary. And, my big takeaway from your story is you keep aggressively pushing forward
Yeah.
and you don't get knocked down. And I recently had a conversation with someone else about this exact same thing. And you know what? If you get pushed down, nobody blames you. It's not your fault. But if you stay down, my friends,
Mm, absolutely.
stay down, that's when we know we're to blame. So this is pretty important. And it's the same with companies as well. We all get pushed around. Do you stay down?
Well, and we learn that from when we're kids.
Mm,
Shut up, kids. Sit there, don't talk. Um,
yeah.
you're not a kid. If you're an adult and you're responsible for a family, etc., you have to get up. You must
Mm,
get up, and you can get up. It's all a single choice.
that's right. How did you get into this? I'm sure I'm just going to go ahead and ask because I know everyone listening is wondering the same thing in their minds. How did you get into this? And yeah, where did this passion for AI meets bias kind of come from? Where did it originate?
It was totally an accident. I mean, as I said, I got involved with AI. I've been waiting, I've been reading, I've been learning about AI since 1986. And my interest was keen back then.
Mhm.
Different aspects of technology have come and gone. This is AI. This is your, I think Apple or I think Casio had something years ago that was supposed to be your agent, and you know, similar to what is being said now about AI's capabilities, and it just failed. Everything has failed because people don't understand it. My passion is in simplicity.
I like that.
I have an absolute passion of simplicity. Anything that will help mankind to expand and to become better than it is what I've been seeking for all my life. And the tool to help mankind get there is what's very, very important to me. And that's what makes me passionate. The thing that can keep it from happening and can negatively impact society is bias. So I know I can't get rid of bias. I absolutely know that. I see these new chips coming out. This one's bigger, faster. It does more data. I'm going, we got enough problems with the amount of data we have out there. Why are you trying to exacerbate the situation? And it as these AI systems get more and more complex, the level of explainability takes a nosedive. If
Mm,
you ask uh, an AI professional or somebody that works with the data, well, why did it give that decision? I don't know. I mean, it's they could do some research. The only thing you can look at in very well, it's not true. One of the things that is more uh, visible is the results of like a loan is refused, because of whatever.
mm,
An example is there was a study done. There was a white couple and a black couple. Both had exactly the same education level. Well, guess who got the loan and guess who didn't? I'll leave
mhm.
it at that.
Yeah.
But so my passion is to try and bring truth and and visibility and to help companies understand why these issues are coming up. These are ethical issues. Regardless of whether or not you know they exist, they're ethical issues. And ethical kind of implies legal. With my PhD in organizational development, I want to help companies keep out of the legal situation. I don't want that to happen because it infects almost literally affects their organization, their shareholders, the people that have worked hard to get the company where it is, and they don't deserve that.
You know what else comes to my mind as well? It affects your brand reputation,
Hmm.
right? So, reputation is everything in business.
Absolutely.
And without, again, these checks and balances in place, you're putting your brand's good reputation on the line. And the example you just said with a loan is an example for one in type of business type of in industry, banking and finance. But this is applicable to any industry because at
Yep.
the end of the day, all of our customers are what? Human beings, right? So this is applicable to any industry. So this is, I feel like, a brand reputation saving thing as well, that this could really add on to brand equity and save that reputation long term. And ultimately, this could be a differentiating factor between you and your competitor doing the exact same thing as you, if
Absolutely.
you have these reputational management practices in place with bias and AI. It could literally either put you on the map or take you off of it pretty quick.
I think you just hit on something. Um, Organizations want to compete.
Yes.
It's like when the internet came out. I gotta have my website. I gotta have a website. Why? I don't know, but I gotta have one. My competitor has one. That's the same mentality that's being used for AI implementations.
Mhm.
And guess what? You need to do it better than your competitor. Be smarter than your competitor, and you'll win every time. But see, the key is here. This is an ongoing need. This is not something that, well, oh, I've implemented my bias protection, my system. It's good. I don't need to look at it anymore. It's something that will continue to be required, and to renew it, and change it to match the input from human beings, just like you pointed out. It's not going away.
No,
So
I
I think
love
it's a big need.
I
I
love that. Yeah, I think there's a huge need for it, and I know we're really excited because I see very big things with you, and I'm excited about your work, and it's clearly important to humanity. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today and spending the time with us and teaching us the right way to implement these technologies in place. But also, I loved what you mentioned about just taking action, not giving up on your dreams, continually pursuing something that's meaningful, and just going for things, Gary. I mean, honestly, if we can all listen to that piece of advice right there, again, like you said, the world would be a much better place, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I just want to make one last plug. I need people that have implemented AI within their organization. You can contact me on LinkedIn, Gary Trautmann. I need people to take part in a study it's question based. It's all anonymous. I am required to keep your information anonymous. So if you can take part, I will be forever grateful, and we can change how AI is used and how bias impacts organizations.
I love that. Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today, Gary. And thank you for everyone who tuned in to this episode of Grasp Confidence. We appreciate and value each one of our listeners so much. Don't forget to leave a review with your favorite thoughts and your favorite guests, because my guests love hearing from you guys. So keep those reviews coming in and keep those shares going. We will see each of you on the next episode. Take care.